Welcome to Pastor JD03, the podcast. I'm Johnny Ogletree III, and I'm excited about sharing with you part 3 of What's in a Letter with Cory Perkins. Last week, Cory talked about the role of letters and the difference between comedy and comedians. This week, we conclude our dialogue with Cory, focusing in on the role of mentorship. Please use the hashtag JD03podcast when posting about today's podcast. And now, part 3 of What's in a Letter with Cory Perkins.
So it's not just the communication, but it's what is communicated. Because there could be some letters that make things worse, to give you more worry, or some things that encourage you. And I'm thinking about some of everything, because there are conversations that you have that help you. And one of the conversations that I had with you guys, you and Adam, and you were like, brother, you've been sheltered. And I was thinking, me sheltered? Like, y'all crazy. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about. And and I remember y'all's first project with me. Y'all sat me down and we watched every black exploitation movie of mankind. Remember, the only one that I had seen was Car Wash.
Yeah. I also remember your dad calling, and you looking at me like my dad would have talked to you.
Yeah.
I'm like, hi, Mr. Ogletree. You got my son watching Fox and Brown.
Yeah.
What you know about Fox and Brown?
Hey, you remember the when my father came in town.
Yes, sir.
This is real funny. That he was staying in a hotel, of course.
Yes.
And I was standing there with you and Adam, and he said, "So what you guys gonna get in tonight?" And I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna watch Dolomite tonight." And he was like, "Oh, okay." Now remember, I didn't know who Dolomite was, right?
Right.
So the whole time we were watching this thing, I was thinking, "Oh my God!" I told my dad we were watching this thing. like Pastor O is gonna be mad.
Yeah, man.
But he thought he thought I was making a statement of independence. Like, I'm grown. Mm. You can't tell me what to watch anymore. I'm gonna do what I want to do. And of course, that was the furthest from the truth that there was. And so, did you have some moments like that where something was communicated that was life changing, even though you didn't even intend it to be, or was there something that you have had to share with other people that have been life changing as well?
Well, like I said, when I told my mother I was going into the service, that communication there was life changing for me, because, as children with parents, and we're both parents, and we've had to, do that talk.
Yeah.
You want to be independent after a while. You want to live your own life and do your own thing. And as young men, sometimes we think we know a little bit more than we do, but going to her and telling her, hey, look, I've made this decision for my life. That was something, really deep. I remember when my older stepson, decided to go into the Navy himself. And he had called me up. My ex-wife and I were divorced by then, but he called me up. He and I still have a good, relationship. And he said, Dad, I'm thinking about, going into the service. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
So I told him, I didn't, tell all of my, stories and stuff. Yeah, that was for a later time.
Amen.
But I told him, I said, you're going to have to make a man's decision. This is your life, and you have to think about this for yourself. And it's not about me. It's not about your mama. It's not about your sister or your brother. It's about you and what you want to do. So I'm going to tell you to do exactly what I did. And you have an easy time doing it. You have the internet. So I want you to go on the net. I want you to do your research. Look at the jobs that are offered. Get all the information, and then I want you to pray about it. And see what God has to say about it. And about 2 weeks later, he called me up and said, Dad, I did what you told me to do. I'm going to go in. And that was life-changing and life-affirming for him, and it led to some tense discussions between me and my ex-wife because she, called me not too long after that, yelling and screaming at me, talking about, he's going to go to the military. You told her. I said, I didn't tell the boy to do nothing. He asked me my opinion and I gave it, but I told him that it's his decision. But they're going to yell at him when he goes to boot camp. I said, you yell at him all the time.
Yeah.
At least they're going to yell at him and he get paid for it. You yell at him for free every day.
Yeah,
let that boy get a paycheck and get yelled at.
Yeah. Somebody gonna yell at him.
Somebody gonna yell at him.
He get a 9 to 5, he gonna get yelled at there too.
Yes, So he did that, and right before he went to boot camp, a couple of weeks before he went to boot camp, he came to live with me. And that was by far one of the best times in my life that I was able to sit him down and talk and really share all the stories I could not, growing up and all the mistakes I made. And I told him, I said, look, be better than me.
Yeah.
Don't get into as much trouble as I did. Don't drink as much as I did. Don't carouse as much as I did. Keep your mouth shut. Follow orders. Do those things and move forward. Move the family forward. I never understood parents who were in competition with their children. Yeah. I never understood that.
Yeah.
I want my children to be better than me. I want them to have more than I do. I want, I have a bachelor's. I want my kids to have a master's and a PhD.
Yeah,
I've rented homes. I want my kids to own a home. I want them to move the family forward. So I told him that, and he took that to heart, and he went in and went to boot camp and did well there. And he did 6 years. He was on submarines. He was a nuclear tech, and he was E5 when he got out and did great things. Had a really good career, and now he's working as an engineer and stuff, and he's doing well. But that's that communication, that you asked about. What I had with my parent and what I was able to have as a parent with my son.
Well, let me ask you one last thing before we get off, and there was a 4-year difference between us, myself, Adam, and you. Mm-hmm. And I know you've always been community-minded. You've always been a responsible man, understanding community, mentorship, brotherhood. What type of responsibility did you feel, if any, being 4 years older than myself and Adam and meeting us and seeing how green we were behind the ears? Was there a sense of responsibility to kind of help us catch up or to avoid some of the pitfalls that you might have made? Or did you feel a responsibility to kind of sharpen us or mold us? What were you thinking during that time? Because that was a 4-year difference. You had been out of the country. I had been out of Texas, but I had never lived anywhere else. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so here I am meeting this brother, this world travel. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. so when you met us as young men, 18 and 19, what was that like for you as someone who had been away for 4 years?
It was a beautiful thing, man. One of the things that was hard for me at Virginia Union was because I was older. I was 25 when I got to Union, having, been in the military or whatever. So now I am surrounded by 18, 19-year-olds.
Silly.
And the maturity level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes, but the maturity level, I remember, my wife knows the story, and of course, my wife. I remember being in a classroom. There was a world history class, and I'll forget it. And freshman year, and the professor, told folks to read some stuff or whatnot. And now he's asking questions about the material, and nobody's raising their hand because nobody did the reading. Well, I did the reading, so I raised my hand, and he and I are talking, and it got to be almost a dialogue between him and I because nobody else is answering questions.
Yeah.
Right. So after class, this young lady walks up to me. She's like, "Why are you always raising your hand in class?" I'm like, what? She said, why you always raise your hand in class? I said, honey, this is college.
Yeah.
I'm paying for this.
Yeah.
This is coming out of my pocket.
Yeah.
Your mommy and daddy paying your bills, but these bills are being paid by me. I'm not going to waste my money.
Exactly.
You know? But what was so beautiful about you and Adam is that you guys were already, you all was silly, but there was a connection, a godly connection between the three of us, you know, that kind of transcended age. And I did take a liking to you all, a big brother mentor kind of thing to you all, you know, when you know were talking, you said, well, nah, Perk, I ain't never do that. You ain't never do that? What? Come on, man. You know, I ain't never seen that. Really?
Yeah.
Well, let me introduce you to this. Let me introduce you to that, whatever. And, you know, you being, you know, a Christian, a preacher's kid, my walk with God wasn't that strong, but being around you and seeing how you conducted yourself, you know, and that you know, fed me as well. So, you know, I think we fed off of each other. And I'll never forget the road trip that we made from Virginia Union to Adams' house in New Jersey, you know, and we stayed the weekend up there. And I'll never forget when we got out the car, Adam's parents came out and embraced you and I.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, it's like we were long lost children of theirs.
Yeah.
I'll never forget.
They act like they knew us for years.
Yes. You know, and Adam's mom is like, you boys must be hungry after all that job. And it's like, well, yeah. Like, well, look, I just made a little snack, but then it'll be later on. We walked in and there was a spread on the table. This woman been cooking for hours. You know,
I still got 15 of those baked ziti pounds on me.
Basically, I ain't never lost them.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll never forget. Adam's dad says, "I am so glad that my son found you guys at that school, and I know that he's going to be taken care of." Yeah. That meant so much, and it was on that day that his parents became our parents. Yeah, you know, and I remember meeting your mom and dad, you know, for the first time. That's when your parents became my parents. Yeah. And my mom became you guys' mom as well. Yeah. And we were able to share that bond. So, to this day, I see you as, I always call you baby brother. That's what you are. Yeah. You're my baby brother. Yeah. You know, and I did feel responsibility in making sure that you guys were safe and you guys had some knowledge, whatever, and you guys taught me. And we just had a good time in that. You know, and I am blessed to have you guys in my life almost 30 years, man.
Wow. Well, I'm going to tell you what, we're going to have to do this again.
Yes, sir.
Because I am telling you, there is so much that we can talk about.
Yes.
Because we have a wealth of experience together, even what it was like, not quote unquote to lose a friend, but I remember when you told us that you were going to transfer, and it was just like, wow, like, how do we come back to Virginia Union and not have us? Yeah. I mean, honestly, what was funny about you talking about us being together all the time, I was thinking, I said, maybe I should call Adam on my phone and chime him into the conversation just to hear you say, and Adam makes 3.
Yes,
it always felt like that. Like we were together, Adam was right behind.
Yeah, that's right.
And he would get there, and you would say, "And Adam makes 3." Wow.
Yes, sir.
And it was like the 3 of us always together, man. And I cherish those moments, man. So I look forward to a future dialogue and pick a topic, man. Because one of the things that when I talked to you about first doing a podcast, I was talking about you doing one of your own because a lot of when I first met you, I felt like I was a part of a family that was very involved in the community and had a heart for the community. And when I met you, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. There are some people that are more in touch, more enlightened, more connected, and even more involved than I ever have been. And so I remember that moment thinking, okay, if I do consider myself a Black leader, and a future leader of the people, then I'm going to have to work harder at this than I actually think. It's not just something that's a birthright because I have skin and a gift, but to be this community leader, you have to put in some work.
Yes.
And part of how I connected those things together was by seeing you. And I was like, man, this man right here is going to be a brother for life.
Thank you for spending time with us in discussion. We appreciate the tweets to hashtag JDO3 podcast and look forward to having great dialogues with this community. This concludes our series, What's in a Letter with Cory Perkins. Be sure you play a part in this online dialogue. You can find any of our posts by using the hashtag PastorJDO3. Thank you again for joining Pastor JDO3, the podcast. I'm Johnny Ogletree III, and I look forward to future discussions with you.